Hello everybody, welcome back to another Roblox Lewis scripting video. And today I got something that I did approximately in around 3 to 4 hours. So it's a little bit rushed, but I just wanted to get it out there before I leave tomorrow. It's for like basically almost the entire summer. But I wanted to get it out there so you guys can use it over the summer if any of you need it. But I think I did make an inventory system in this channel before, but it was pretty primitive and but this one has more features, and I think it's the bare minimum of inventory systems, hopefully, in my opinion. So let me show you the features that it provides. It's really applicable to your game, easily applicable actually. You can change the code if you can understand Roblox coding. Everything here can be changed to your liking, and features can be added easily. I've written it as simple as possible, so it's really readable. But let me show you the features that it provides. So alright, so this is me. These are items I can pick up in the ground. And to open inventory, so the first thing you see is, so let's just pick up an item actually. Let's pick up the crate, adds it there, and you see how the storage is 1 out of 15, so it just adds this and just pick up let's actually just pick up every single thing here. Get that, and that. Ignore the comments, it's just a little comments I did to check if it's saving properly or not. So 5 out of 15, obviously if it's 15 out of 15 you can't pick up any items on the ground. So yeah, so there's that. So there's also a sorting feature that I added. So that's other just the resources. So wood, rock, and a crate are considered resources in this game, in the system. Other are basically like tools. So everything that are resources I consider as a tool. So it's a key and a teddy bear, and obviously all right there. I added a really cool search engine here, so you can key, it goes back to all. So if it goes like a resource and I do like key, it resets everything back to all. If I wanted a teddy bear, and it goes like that. Rock, if there's nothing, so it goes by first letter. Like any search engine really, search bar. So anyway, so that's that, really cool. And if I say I want to equip crate, it highlights it makes the primary, secondary, so there's 3 slots: primary, secondary, and other. It lights that up, and you can say I want primary, I'll add it there, move it there, and it's gonna glow. Pretty cool. And if I do teddy bear, I'll put it here, then it should give it here. So obviously some things are meant to be cosmetics and some things are actual tools. So like if you make a survival game, you wouldn't have like wood and rocks be equipable into a slot. I didn't add that feature, and realizing now I should have added the stacking feature. You can have like times 2 like rocks. If you guys want me to add more features like that, like like stacking features, only have certain items to be like considered equipable, I can do a version 2 in the future. Just let me know, I'd be happy to do it whenever I get the chance. Anyways, but if you guys, it's really straightforward if you know how to code, how to add those features yourselves. But anyways, if I remove that, you go like that, and like that goes back. A rock here, sorry, teddy bear here, and let's do here, and there you go. That's like that. Other, secondary, cool. All right, so that's that. Let's remove that. Now last but not least, a really cool feature is garbage mode. Obviously I didn't add a drop, since if you trash it, it's gone, it won't drop it. But if you want to drop it, it's really easy to add that system. You can do whatever you want to do. Once you click the trash button, you can make it drop the item or whatever. But right now it just deletes the item, it subtracts it from the current storage. If I do it again, 3 out of 15 like that. And yeah, so that's really straightforward, and that's to get out of the garbage mode. Obviously if you pick up an item during garbage mode, it will reset back to the not a garbage mode. Yeah, so there's that. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get to explaining. It's really cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's reset, and obviously the most important thing, does it save? Of course it saves. There you go, see, it saves. Yeah, anyways, alright, so let me explain to you guys how it works. I have a lot of explaining to do, but everything is really straightforward. Let's start from the top. Alright, so the first thing I need to explain items, or how everything is sorted out. So there's a folder in workspace called obtainable things. Everything that in your game that is obtainable, I suggest you put it inside this folder just for organization purposes and of course ease of access. So you don't go crazy looking for certain things if you do decide to do certain things with the system. But yeah, so every single item here, I added a read thing here by the way, explaining what I just said like 10 seconds ago. Alright, so the key here, so every item have these things: a pickup script using proximity prompt, priority, and description. Only the tools have a priority because they are the only things that are actually equipable that goes into your backpack. Things like resources here only have descriptions. So if you do add an item, make sure it has this description thing, and if it's a tool, make sure it has a priority thing. Alright, and it's a string value. They're both string values actually. And the pickup script is the same thing for all of them. Basically, once it's triggered, it checks if the player doesn't exceed the current storage values. If their current storage is less than their max storage, so like a 14 out of 15, fire to the client with the tool name and the description of that tool. If it's more than 15, if it's the player is 50 out of 15 per se, it will not allow the player to pick it up. Same thing applies to the exact same thing happens to every single things here. Keynote: in the replicated storage, there's two things: resources and tools. So there's the two categories that things are sorted in the system. If you want to add more sorting, if you know how to code, again, you'd know once you read the code that's really easy to add another category. But I can always add more categories in the future video for a version 2 of this thing with more features. Anyways, when you add an item, I suggest you guys to exactly copy it into the resource thing with everything, with the scripts. Most importantly is it needs to have the string values, description for the, I guess, resources, and description and priority for the tools. It needs to have this. That's really important. It's really pivotal. Alright, anyways, that's that. So once I pick it up, now let's get to the main thing. So I'm using a profile service data store here because just for convenient purposes, and I have 3 data store here: current storage, max storage. So these are default values. If you change this, it resets everything. It resets the data for everybody. So be wary of that. Inventory data. This is the thing I'm using the JSON. I'm using JSON method to save the data for the inventory, which I'll explain once I get there. So that's that. So let's get in order. So yeah, everything is handled in this singular frame. This is just the opening frame, obviously. So let's go like that. This is this frame for the button. Like that. So that's the button right there. Anyways, all right. So the main thing here is literally the that's just the close button. The main thing here is I don't actually have a use for that. Did I have it? No, I didn't have a use for that. I don't know what's there. All right, inventory. So inventory, the first thing is these are all the main scripts. Everything's in whole one place. The settings has current storage, primary, secondary, other, current selected. So when players select an item, it will change this value to the selected item. Once they put it into a slot, whichever slot it is, it will change these string values to whichever item they equip. Simple as that. Current storage just replicates the current storage of the player. Not really useful. It's just there. Because there's a leader stats, this is data store for the current storage, MX storage, so I'm using that in the scripts. Alright, so first thing is the main handler. Alright, so when they pick up an item, so let's just hide this for, so right here, so I get the data store stats, current storage, and the max storage. Alright, so when they pick up an item, I get it. The arguments are the player name and the item name and the item description. First, I check if the inventory system is in garbage mode, because if it's in garbage mode and they pick my item, if you don't have this code check, it will add the item and it'll only be the only item in the inventory that has the word equip. Everything else will be trash. So that's really odd. So that fixes that. Right. Anyways, next we make a clone of a template of the template for the inventory. you know, I change all the stuff accordingly to the name of the item, description of the item, um change the text to the name of the item, change the name of the text to the item or the text label. Then I check all the folders that could potentially have the item. So if you add another category, you do need to do a check for that here, its own for loop. But in this system, there's only resources and tools, so I check both. For because the items being added can only potentially be in these two folders, so I check that. Once I find it, I clone the model into the viewport, so you know, as it's in the viewport. Disable the rotate script, so it starts rotating. Parent it and makes it visible, so you can now see it in the grid. Parent it to the, you know, the grid, which is with the UI grid layout, so the inventory really. Fire server item, so I fire to the server. Remote event add to inventory, and I change the current value to plus equals 1, so that changes that settings here to, you know, add equals 1. And of course I make a little animation here that makes it like every time you add an item, it just does the little animations, like it shrinks, then goes back to normal size. So yeah, there's that. And then, so the next thing I'm gonna explain is the add to inventory item. Add to inventory again. It just checks the little debounce here, the blah blah current storage. It adds plus equals 1, so it adds plus 1 to represent that they added a singular item to the current value of the current storage. Then when stats check, you do the game, the server storage inventories, find for shout. So this is the inventory. So which I have to explain for game style player added. To do what happens here is how I'm saving it is that every single time a player joins, every single player in the server, each player has a folder that's with their name called like Pokecedgo's inventory inside inventories. And so yeah, that's basically and every time I add or remove item, it'll add and remove accordingly inside to the player's inventory folder. So if I added like say, which I show it right here really. So if you hear any fan or a dog, there's like, it's really loud right now outside, and there's a really loud fan right next to me. And anyway, so yeah, it adds that item into the player's designated inventory, which done's right here. Now the method I'm saving is Json encoding and decoding. It's basically JavaScript encryption. So basically I make a table, I loop through the player data. Player data is the inventory and server storage of that player. So I loop through that data and I add into the table all the current items that's in the player has in inventory. And then I encrypt it in JSON encode, and then I saved it and I changed the inventory stat value to the JSON encode, which basically allows me to save a bunch of data in a singular string. And basically once the player say rejoins and did the save data, I basically check here if the value does not equal nothing, so they have data. I basically decode that value. Now I can use it. I can run a for loop through that data and re-add this the saved items, quote unquote saved items, and add it to the folder to mimic, you know, saving and loading. That's how I save it. Really straightforward. And of course, load data I fire to the client. So the load data is literally right here, and I basically, it's once you read it, I basically just load everything. So I run a for loop to the JSON decode, so that, you know, the table basically that I save, and I re-add the frames. I clone the templates for each respective item that's being saved, so it mimics like loading in the inventory. That's what's happening in this script. Anyways, that's basically what it does. So that's pick up right there, and it's done. Alright, so the next thing I need to explain is the search box. Really straightforward. This is the function I'm using. Basically it runs a loop through the inventory, just grid. That's what's called inventory. If the item is equipped, that value equals false, so you know they're not currently equipping it, so you don't want like items like equip into the primary, secondary, other slot to show if they're searching something. It'll be buggy, so that checks of that. So if the search box that text equals nothing, make the items visible equals true. If they're searching nothing, make every single item visible equals true. If they're not, it'll do the check using string, basically string formatting. So if it's lowercase, uppercase, it'll take care of that. But if the players type in the search box uppercase or lowercase, it doesn't matter because everything will be automatically lowercase. Anyway, match string right here. It basically checks if anything matches based on that. Inside the grid on what they're searching for, it'll search that. If it does, make it visible equals true. Make that only divisible equals true. Everything else is visible equals false. If that makes sense. Alright, so that's that. This thing is the tool giving and such a player. This is the part where you go about as you wish with your current hotbar. So this is the hotbar system. So there's one for primary, secondary, other. They're literally all the same thing. They're mimic of each other. So I'll just explain one of them. So like say for primary, that change. So if players add something right in the current selected and they click primary, this becomes the what was currently equipped or currently selected. It'll be this value. It'll change the primary value to this. Same thing happens to every single other one. It triggers this function. It'll trigger the other function if you do the other ones as well. Checks if the items exist literally in their respective category in the folders in replicated storage. It'll check that and it'll fire. It checks if it's a tool, then it'll fire object give to the server. Same thing, literally same thing here, just everything instead of primary is secondary. Same thing here, everything just other. Once that's done, if the primary equals nothing, so if the player, if the primary like unselects, like removes the item from the slots, instead this will pass the statement, the conditional statement, and fire to the server nil primary. Basically, what object give does is really cool. So let me just hide this, hide this, and hide this one. Object give item priority. All right. So the priority can be primary, secondary, or other. Tool priority is completely different. So I got the backpack and I get the character. What I do is I check the backpack and I get the character, and I literally check if say if a player has a primary, previously equipped a sword, and now they want to equip a katana, it'll check for if any item of that priority value, since the player can only equip one tool at a time, that's considered primary. Same thing with one tool at a time considered secondary. It'll check that and destroy it, so you don't have duplicates. You don't have a player equipping a katana and a sword at the same time. So this literally checks that in both categories. Then if item does not equal nil, meaning the player is not removing the item, I can delete this because too many printing in this thing. Anyways, it'll clone the item, right, and it'll give that tool to the player and change its priority value to say primary, secondary, other. That's literally what it does. And if there's nothing, no item, just removing. So that's basically what it does. Yeah, same thing applies to everything. So that's one script done. The sorting buttons is literally straightforward. They'll do the same thing. Say for resource, if they click the resource button for sorting, it just runs this function, check if equipped device is false and it is a frame, therefore it's a valid inventory item. It'll check if it exists in the respective folder in replicated storage, make that item true. All the items under that, make all the items that can be found in that folder true, everything else false, to mimic sorting. Same thing applies to tools, and they're all the same thing. It just mimics sorting by turning some things false and some things true depending if they exist in a certain folder, aka these folders right here. Alright, data loading, I explained that. Basically just loads everything. The item handler, really straightforward. What it does is, alright, so this, instead of having local script for every template equipping, so this handles the item, like when you click equip in the item, this handles that. Okay, so every time something is added to inventory grid, the child added, so everything something added to inventory, it'll run a for loop, check if it's a frame, therefore it's a valid thing. If it enters, if you hover your mouse over the item, it will do that little description thing where it shows the description of the item. That's what it does here. It changes the text to the description of the item. If it leaves, it hides the description frame. If they click equip, and if it's not in garbage mode, plays the sound, and basically it'll do the thing where it makes the primary, secondary, and all slots glow a certain color. So it does that. That's that thing here, and it'll change the current selected value to the current selected tool or the current selected item. That's what it does. For the slots, it's really straightforward. So I'm just hide this, because everything here is the same thing. So okay, these are all the same thing. Image, other, secondary, primary. So I'll just explain primary because they all do the same thing, the same code, just in respect to secondary, or in this respect to the priority. So for primary, so if the current selected value does not equal nothing, so they have something currently selected, right? It'll check the grid, aka the inventory. I don't might call it grid, but it checks the inventory, and if it's a frame, therefore it's a tool, and if it's not hidden, and the name of that current selected thing is equivalent, it's the same as the primary value, make it visible equals true, and make the equip value of that frame to false. So basically what this means is, if you look at here at the template has description, equipped, and garbage mode as string values, and a bool value. These are important things that's being constantly changed respectively throughout the use of the inventory system. And of course that's the rotation of this of the viewport, all that stuff. All right, so that's what's happening there. And else if, there's an important part, if the current selected value is nothing and the primary value does not equal nothing, that means they want to remove something. So it'll run a for loop to the inventory, and basically make it visible equals true, and make the equip value equals false. Therefore basically mimics, it'll add it back into the inventory. So if they equip something and then they want to remove it, they click on it in the respective slots, and it'll mimic it'll add it back to the inventory basically. Same thing, literally same thing happens to every single one of these things, just instead of primary, secondary, other. So yeah, that's that, and that's literally it. The only thing I need to explain is I explain how loading saving works, how things are removed is basically literally just the reverse of adding to the inventory. Instead of adding, it'll remove the current value minus, so it'll remove a singular value from the current storage, right? And then it saves again. That's literally what it is. I'm sorry to you guys. I know it's a little bit rushed. If you do find bugs, let me know. I will be happy to do a version 2 in the future if you guys need me to, with more features. But hopefully this is useful to you guys with all the features that I think are really useful. These are the like the bare minimum things that I could add to this tutorial, so it one-ups the other inventory system that I made. But yeah, I know it's a little bit rushed. It was done like in 3 to 4 hours. So it is a little bit rushed. But yeah, anyways, if you find any bugs, let me know. That's basically everything else, and everything other local scripts like the safety check are just like this one checks if a player is in garbage mode and starts equipping every single thing, and it might bug out that it'll show the description thing there's nothing in inventory. Just checks that and hides it immediately. And so any local scripts under any like buttons and stuff are just like little animation things that if you read them, it's really straightforward. This thing, the local script here just changes the text to the current storage / max storage and all that stuff. I think that's everything. Literally, I need to explain. Really straightforward, and this is really cool too. Yeah, I'm really proud of this. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great summer, and hopefully make use of this into your games, whether it be a survival game or literally anything. Just double checking I didn't miss anything. I explained every single thing. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Goodbye.